What about sleep? You've touched on the brain's ability to clear itself out, keeping the neighborhood clean, so to speak. I love that. I love that metaphor. Um, what do we need to know when it comes to optimizing sleep around the preventative maintenance of the brain?
Sleep helps with the rinsing mechanism in the brain, and so it's very important. Now, what should you do if you have trouble falling asleep or if you wake up multiple times during the night? The most common culprit is stress. A lot of people have difficulty falling asleep because they're worried about things. Same applies for when people wake up in the middle of the night, when they have too many things on their mind. The solution is to reduce the load of the things you worry about. I know this is easier said than done, but so many of our anxieties are self-generated. We worry about the things that may happen, and they may or may not happen, and the consequences are not always as dramatic as we think they will be. Therefore, I recommend that you ask yourself how many of the things you worry about merit your brain being damaged by it. Let me give you a little story. I have two daughters who are in college now, and my younger daughter, when she was in elementary school, she had to read a book, and write a summary about it. And I saw that she wasn't doing it, so I said, "Honey, you are supposed to write this summary. It's due 2 days, and you haven't started reading it." And she said, "Dad, you're stressing me out, and that's not good for my hippocampus." So I think you have to ask yourself, does this thing that's bothering you worth your hippocampus? And that, to me, is a big factor on improving sleep. Now, there are also things like don't eat caffeine in the afternoon, make sure you exercise so your body is tired, keep your bedroom quiet and clean and dark. These are common sense things that if people do, they will improve their sleep.
Is there any value to trying to micromanage? Because now a lot of people use sleep trackers and the like. I sleep on a cooling pad on my mattress that automatically tracks my sleep every night, and it differentiates from the amount of delineates the amount of REM sleep that I've gotten versus the amount of deep sleep, as if there's like an actionable component there. Do you think that this is something that the science has borne out, or?
I think deep sleep is good, and this is the part that has the most benefits in terms of the cleaning system that happens in the brain. I wouldn't recommend people becoming obsessed with checking their sleep every night. You probably want to check it once a week, and then after a few weeks, just sleep. Don't be obsessed about how many hours you got.
I remember reading an animal study, like it was in mice a couple years ago, that found, I believe it was in mice, that found that like when a mouse slept on one side versus the other, it seemed to accelerate or make more efficient the brain's cleansing process.
Yes, I have heard that study as well. I wouldn't go that far. I think it's important that you get a good night's sleep. So I wouldn't worry about sleeping on the left or right. I think make sure you get enough sleep. There may be some benefit for one side or the other. However, there's no solid science to back that up. That goes to the point of 5 major pillars of brain health and a lot of minor things.
No, I so appreciate that because, I, as somebody who for a long time had back problems, I would always hear, well, it's better for your back to sleep on your back. And I'm like, well, I can't sleep on my back. And if I try to sleep on my back, I'm just going to spend more time, tossing and turning and cursing the fact that I can't sleep on my back. So I sleep on my stomach, and I found ways to make it work for me. I prop my hips up and whatever, and I sleep amazing on my stomach. Whether or not it's better for me to sleep on my back, it doesn't matter. If you're not sleeping as well, then it's defeating the purpose.
Absolutely. The thing we haven't talked about is brain training. Like, what about brain training? Does brain training work? What brain training is good? I think that's the one area that we haven't touched yet.
Yeah, let's go there because there's a lot of people. There's this lore that Sudoku and crossword puzzles are somehow going to magically save you from being diagnosed one day with Alzheimer's disease. What's the truth there about brain training?
Brain training stimulates your brain, and it's good for developing and stretching different cognitive capacities. Your brain's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Your brain actually likes to be challenged because when you push your brain, when you get frustrated with it is a Sudoku or any other learning process, learning a new language, That's when new synapses are formed. Now, the question is, if you do Sudoku every night, are you going to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease? Yes and no. The reason I say yes is because these interventions have been shown to increase the size of hippocampus, without a doubt. See, there's a part of the brain called the cortex, which is the outer layer of the brain. It's like a blanket that covers all other brain areas. And then deep in the brain, we have hippocampus, one on the right, one on the left. Cortex and hippocampus are parts of the brain that are important for your cognitive functions. So whether you use reading, writing, typing, putting together a podcast, doing your taxes, dancing, whatever it is that requires you to have higher brain functions, depends on your cortex and hippocampus. Now, different parts of cortex and different parts of hippocampus are important for different functions. For example, 8 or 10 parts of the brain form a network that are important for memory. Another network is important for language. Another network is important for attention. Another network is for sitting there doing nothing, like just sit there, enjoy the ocean or listen to music and just do nothing. Now, these networks can increase in size when you stimulate them regularly. Let's say you decide to learn Italian, and every time you learn a new word, and every time you forgot a word and you read it again, you're creating little synapses in your brain. It's a beautiful thing. Just imagine like the neurons are coming together and extending and then forming. You see another neuron and they connect. A brain is a busy place. It's not like an open space for things to grow. All the different parts of the brain are accounted for. So then you have to actually push to create these new synapses. And how does a neuron know where to go? These are the things that are so exciting at a molecular level. But we know at a clinical level that when you learn a new language, you grow the size of the hippocampus and the parts of the cortex that are important for that. Now, if you learn a new language, or if you do difficult Sudokus, or if you do something else that requires training to get better at, like learn how to play the piano, you increase the number of synapses in those parts of the brain. But if you, at the same time, have a sedentary lifestyle, you sleep 4 hours a night, you snore and have sleep apnea that's not been treated, you have a stressful life, you eat junk food, you do all those things, don't expect that half an hour a day of brain training is going to somehow miraculously help you not get Alzheimer's disease. It will not. You need to work on multiple fronts in order to fight the effects of aging in your brain. And brain training is one of them. So if you do brain training in the setting of these other things, you will see remarkable results. If you do brain training in the presence of multiple risk factors, you see small results. You will see results. You will get better at anything you do, whether it's playing the piano, learning a language, Sudoku. You definitely get better with training.
Hey, if you like that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.